What's up, NCK fam?
What's up, NCK fam? It's your girl Nell back again with another video. And in today's video, I thought it would be best, to bring y'all back to the basics. I know I've been doing a lot of, law day in the life vlogs, but I just thought that it would be best to do a video explaining how I applied to law school and some practical tips that you guys can take away from this as well. But before we get into this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. So this video is going to be more broad, and if you guys have any questions about anything specific that I talk about, definitely leave it below and I can do a more detailed video about your specific interests later on down the line. But before school gets too busy, I thought I would just film this real basic, real light, Okay, so the first thing you want to do, you're thinking about being a lawyer, thinking about going to law school. The first thing I would say to do, obviously, would be to pray. That's why I'm wearing my Goddess Up t-shirt, right? To pray and ask for wisdom, ask for clarity about this next transition that you're about to do in life. Because law school, the end goal for being a lawyer is, great, with resources and stuff like that and connections, but the journey to become that, you don't want to waste 3 years of pain just to end up having it be avoidable and not necessarily following this path just because either you think it looks desirable but you're not really interested in it and you just want to make money, or this is something that your family has been pushing on you. Make sure that this is something that you're actually desiring to do, and that you just have clarity on this next step. The next point of advice I would like to give would be to know your why. Right? Many people come into law school with different reasons as to why. Some superficial, some, weighty. But make sure before you take this process, the steps to actually study for the Lsat, this, that, and the third, make sure that you know your why. In my previous motivational video, I talked about your why will be the thing that drives you. Right? There's this quote that says that dedication will take you more than motivation ever will. So if you're dedicated to your why and not necessarily just motivated by it, then it will bring you throughout everything that law school has and beyond. So make sure that you know your why, know your reason, and stick to it. All right, more into the practical, logistical side of things. Obviously, if you want to go into law school, you have to take either your Lsat or your GRE. I never took the GRE, so I can't even speak to that, but I did take the Lsat and I took it once. And I definitely recommend only taking the Lsat once, because taking it more than once is a waste of time. Like literally, just be one and done, right? It's a waste of time, energy, money, just cut it right there. So I personally studied on my own with Khan Academy. It is a free website that you can log on to, and it will help you with practice problems and practice exams and stuff like that is beneficial to helping you prepare for the actual test. There's also companies, certified companies that are also teaching people how to study for the Lsat. And people ask me, is there a benefit to studying at home versus, using the online services? And I would say there's a pro to cons for both. The pro for studying by yourself is that, you save money, you're on your own schedule. But the cons is that you're not certified, right? You don't really know what you're doing or what to necessarily look out for. So it's going to take you longer to pick up on your mistakes and redirecting, whereas someone who is trained in this knows how to get you from A to B quickly. And then the downside for the testing company, obviously, is cost. And for me, I felt as though, well, I took the test once and I was going to retake it, and I did sign up for a testing company, but I felt like I was doing the same thing as I was studying on my own. Like, it was still up to me to do my work. So, and I didn't really have like one-on-one sessions, so I learned like physically one-on-one, you write it on the board and I visually can see what you're talking about. But if I'm doing it on my own anyway, it didn't really make sense for me to continue with it. So that's just one of the cons, the one-on-one you're missing. It might be due to COVID, might be due to just how they're set up, I don't really know, but those are something you can look out for. So definitely, you know, figure out if you want to do on your own practicing or with a testing company. And then for the length of time it takes you to study, personally for me, it took me a year. And I basically studied like every day for like an hour. Some people do more than that. Some people, you know, study in a shorter period of time for a long period of time. It just depends on you and how you know yourself and what you're available to, you know, commit to doing. So, you know, just schedule for that, whether you need to take a gap year to do that or you think you can do that coming right out of school, whatever works for you. The next thing I would say to do once you are looking to start taking the test, go on LSAC, LSAC, and they have something there where if you are financially unable to pay for, you know, the LSAT sitting fee, that there are services there that can discount the sitting fee for the LSAT, as well as pay for up to 6 schools to send your information to, which is really great. So definitely take advantage of that. Once you have finished taking your LSAT, and if you think, well, in the process of applying to law school, taking your LSAT, and then getting your score, definitely reach out to professors primarily, or bosses if you're, you know, coming from a work field, to start thinking about, you know, asking for letters of recommendation. Yeah, that's really important. So having people that you can count on to really write you a strong letter of recommendation, speaking to your work ethic, speaking to you as a student, is very, very, very important. So have that there, as well as making sure that your GPA is strong, and making sure that if you are in part of clubs, that you are in some leadership capacity. So it really stands out on your resume and in your personal statement. Speaking of personal statements, I would suggest when I went to this law conference at Harvard, they talked about when you're writing your personal statement, make sure that you include not that you need a law degree, but why you need a law degree. It goes back to what I literally just said in the beginning of knowing your why. Make sure you write down why you need a law degree, right? Why it's essential for you to have one. So for your personal statement, I would suggest, you know, and this is what I'm, you know, taking from undergrad as well, you know, coming into, you know, college, but making sure that you have a personal statement that plays on your strengths, as well as tell a story. Everybody likes to read something, you know, fun. It doesn't have to be fun, but something that tells a story of who you are and how you got to this moment in time. So for your personal statement, you can use analogies. For example, and I'm stealing this from NJ Leap. Oh my gosh, I hope they don't. Okay. Okay, I don't want to use it directly from NJ Leap. But say you consider yourself a gardener, right? And you describe the task of the gardener. You know, a gardener has to take care of the plants, pick the right soil, nurture the plant, you know, feed it, water it, snip ends where it needs to, you know, snip in order for it to thrive, right? And you can compare that to your life. So say you as a gardener watering to your plants, that you can say that's how you pour into your community in this way, or as a working professional, you have poured into your, you know, employees in this ways, and give examples, right? Your personal statement, you definitely want to make sure that you are showing and not telling. Everything that you say, make sure you have something in life that supports, you know, what you're saying. Like, you can't just say I'm diligent, right? So you should accept me into your law school. Make sure that you're saying I'm diligent because this, and this is how diligence shows up for me in the day-to-day, or this is how I have practiced diligence in this area of my life, right? So make sure you're showing and you're not telling. Make sure that you are, you know, using some kind of story, You know, for me personally, I wrote about being a first-gen student. I basically, you know, talked about this Smith ring right here and its significance to me. Like growing up, I didn't have like examples of like what to do, but when I got to college, it literally planted me in spaces to grow in leadership development, and that's how I did it there. And then with this law degree, which is why I need it, I will now help, you know, the community that I came back from. So basically that's how I structured my law school personal statements, you know, being first gen, everything like that. So definitely tell a story, but make sure you're showing and not telling. Next thing that I would say is after you have your LSAT scores, make a list of the law schools that you're interested in. Consider when you're looking at law schools location, consider cost of attendance, consider the alumni network that comes from these schools, consider what else can you consider? Finances, how are you gonna live? You know, if you move out of state versus in state versus living at home, how is that going to play into everything? So consider all those things. So once you finally, you know, have some law schools that you want to have in mind, make a list. I'm also still in this mentally, but make a list of the law schools based in 3 categories. You want your safety schools, schools that you know that you can get into based on your GPA and your Lsat score. Those are like your fallback schools, like without a shadow of a doubt. You meet the criteria of 50 or 70% of, you know, students accepted. Your target schools, which are the ones that you are aiming at, like you're literally in between, like, I don't remember the percentage, but like your target schools is, you know, a little less safe than your safety schools, but you know, these are the ones that I'm aiming to get into based on my GPA and LSAT score. And then your reach schools, meaning the schools you had no possibility of getting into, but you stepped it on faith on that one. Because listen, schools can surprise you. Schools can definitely surprise you. I'm definitely a testimony of like schools being way outside of my reach. I still was able to land at East Smith College. So listen, trust the process and don't ever discount yourself from getting into a school just because of your LSAT score, just because of your GPA, because we serve a miracle working God. Because let me tell you, honey. But yeah, definitely make a list about the 3 different categories of schools, and then, you know, mark yourself against that. I wouldn't say apply to any more than maybe like 12 8s, and you could break that up in sections. Like you want to do like 4 for reach, 4 for safety, and then 4 for, you know, whatever. You can do it that way, but I wouldn't say like apply to mad schools. 1, because of finances. 2, because who has time for all of that? Who literally has time for all of that? All right, so after that's done, the application process is like the physical application process is fairly simple. So once you log on to LSAC, there is a form that you fill out, you know, with your name, your geographic material, sometimes school, and they're school specific. It's just like how we did applying to college. So on college, was it College Board? I don't remember. But literally the same way, you fill out your name, your geographic material. Some schools ask what you're interested in studying. Some schools ask for addendum. So if you have something that you want to tell that tell the school that is not reflected in your application, or explain a season of life, like why certain things reflected in either your grade or you get from school, or if any like conduct thing happened, you want to explain that away, then you can write that there. You could write a diversity statement, which is different from your personal statement, but basically how your diverse background made you into who you are today. You can write something about like your achievements, like a whole bunch of other stuff. And sometimes schools ask, I didn't apply to any schools that asked for essays, but if you wanted to like apply to certain scholarships, there were that you could, you know, write to. So definitely be aware that that is something that you're going to have to do if you want to. I mean, some of those are optional, but you know, there is no such thing as optional, really. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as optional. So that's something also you have to consider into. Let me see if I missed something else. And then you just apply, and that's it. I would definitely say for your LSAT scores, one, remember that they do not define you, right? You are literally more than just a number, and I literally wrote that in certain essays. I would say, like, my LSAT score is a number that doesn't reflect who I am. It doesn't reflect what I have done or will do in life. So you have to look at some other things, right? You can definitely say that if like your LSAT score is a little lower. As well as a piece of advice I would give would be to apply to schools early. If you have a low LSAT score, apply to schools early, because schools do have a quota. So, I mean, if you apply early, they're most likely to accept lower scores sooner to fill in that quota. And then the later you apply, those slots are gone. So now they're going to be looking at your stuff more intently than if you applied early, where things are a little bit loose and funny. So definitely apply early, which is something that I had trouble doing because I think I messed up, but that's neither here nor there. Let me see what else. And that's it. And then you just wait until you hear back from a school. I'm trying to think if I missed anything else. No, I think that was it for the application process. That's how you apply to law school. You know, take the LSAT, get your letters of recommendation, pick your schools based on geography, finance, curriculum, networking, areas of study, and then you fill out the form, press submit, and then you're done. That's how you apply to law school. There's nothing really more for me to say, unless I were to get deeper into, you know, certain areas of topic like finances and stuff like that, which I definitely can do. So if you want to see a detailed video on how I was able to pay for school, then definitely let me know, as well as, you know, things that I'm seeing now, my first year predictions. I don't know, y'all. Just let me know what you guys want to see from me. Oh, one more thing for LSAT scores. So law school, if you guys didn't know, I didn't know, grad schools, they stingy with their money, y'all. So the higher you score in your LSAT, the more aid they'll give. That's that. But you'll still get aid regardless. So I don't want you guys to like stress out about a score that is literally not even going to determine if you pass the bar, what law firm you're going to work for, if you decide to work for a law firm. Like, it literally is just to get into a school, which all schools teach the same thing. So don't really stress too much about the score, about the process. Just have fun with it. Just have fun with it, y'all. It's stressful, it is, but don't let it consume you. Okay. Well, NCK fam, that's all I have for this video. If you guys have any more, you know, questions or anything like that, anything else you want to see from me, definitely let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.